Today's episode of Off the Timeline is titled The Ohio State Hire That Didn't Fail and Still Broke College Football. Let's get one thing straight right away. Ohio State did not collapse, they did not fall off, they did not make a terrible hire. And that's exactly why this what if scenario breaks everything. Because in this alternate universe, Ohio State stays good, just not terrifying. And when the most powerful program in the Midwest stops terrifying people, entire conferences start making decisions they never would have before. This isn't a story about losses, it's a story about leverage. And it starts in 2011 when Ohio State makes the safest possible decision at the worst possible moment. Now let's set the table for the decision. In 2011, Ohio State is not looking for innovation. They're not looking for dominance. They're looking for control. The tattoo scandal has shattered trust. The program's image matters more than its ceiling. What Ohio State believes it needs most is stability. So they hire Brady Hoke. And here's the key point. This makes sense. He has Big Ten ties, reputation as a culture repairman, a clear visual break from the Tressel era without torching it completely. At the time, this looks responsible. It looks grown up. It looks like Ohio State choosing the long game. What Ohio State doesn't realize is that they are the long game. And that sets the table to the on field results for Ohio State. The immediate results don't scream disaster. 2011 feels like a reset year. Losses are excused. The story is discipline, not dominance. By 2012 and 2013, Ohio State is winning games again. 9 wins, 8 wins, bowl games, rankings. But something subtle has changed. Opponents stop circling Ohio State on the calendar with dread. They start planning for them. Recruiting doesn't fall apart, it softens. Ohio kids leave the state at slightly higher rates. Five-star decisions turn into coin flips. Ohio State becomes predictable. And predictable is not good for a conference that depends on intimidation. By 2014 and 2015, Ohio State is still a top 15 program, but they're no longer the thing everyone is building around. They're just there. And this sets the table for the Michigan counterweight. And this is where the balance shifts. Michigan, instead of panicking, chooses stability. They hire Pat Fitzgerald. No flash, no savior narrative, just structure. Michigan doesn't become dominant, they become reliable. And that's devastating because now the Big Ten doesn't have one terrifying anchor and one chaotic wild card. It has two strong programs that cancel each other out. The rivalry tightens, margins shrink, national perception flattens. The Big Ten looks normal. And that's when the first conference panics. And this sets the stage for the ACC blinking first. And that's the twist most people don't expect. The Big Ten doesn't panic first, the ACC does. Because the ACC's survival strategy depends on oxygen gaps, windows where the national conversation is not monopolized by the Big Ten and SEC. When Ohio State stops soaking up attention, the ACC loses cover. Maryland accelerates its exit. Then Florida State makes the calculation everybody was avoiding. They leave. Not because the ACC is done, but because Ohio State no longer scares them into waiting. Clemson watches. They don't move yet. They wait. And waiting turns out to be the smartest move in the entire timeline. And this sets the table for the Big Ten misreading the moment. The Big Ten assumes Ohio State will rebound. They always have. Nebraska is still settling in. Michigan looks solid. Revenue is fine for now. But their leverage is slipping. Media partners stop treating the Big Ten as inevitable. Scheduling power weakens. Playoff politics start tilting south. By the time the Big Ten realizes Ohio State is no longer the sports deterrent, the board has already shifted. They try to fix it with a coaching overcorrection. And that sets the table for the second Ohio State pivot. Ohio State swings for modern offense. They hire Tom Herman. The results improve briefly. 10 wins, big games, buzz. But it's a different kind of buzz. Ohio State is exciting, but they're not authoritative. They're chasing ceilings instead of setting them. And while Ohio State experiments, the SEC consolidates. Florida State is already inside. Clemson negotiates from power, not fear. The SEC doesn't rush. They don't need to. They already won. And that sets the table for the season that almost saves it. In 2026, Ohio State finally puts it together. Elite quarterback play, veteran roster, and a Big Ten title. For a moment, it feels like the old gravity is back, but it's too late. Playoff formats are locked. Media deals are signed. Conference hierarchy is set. Ohio State is by no means excluded, they're contained. And one great season can't undo 15 years of softened leverage. And that sets a table for what actually broke. Ohio State didn't lose games, they lost timing. They made a reasonable hire when the sport demanded intimidation. And once Ohio State stopped scaring people, everyone else stopped waiting. That's how conferences fall apart without collapsing. That's how power shifts without a headline moment. And that's how a program can stay great, yet still lose the future. And if you like these slow burn, what actually broke the system, what if stories, hit like. It tells the algorithm this is worth pushing. Drop a comment with the decision you think mattered most in this timeline. And if you want more deep cut alternate histories that don't rely on cartoon collapses, subscribe. Because the most dangerous decisions are usually the ones that make the most sense at the time.